Injuries for Halifax, Grant Anderson and Wayne Jackson. Wayne Jackson in impressive form since he's moved from Doncaster. And Halifax looking, so with Leeds, it's going to be a race into who's going to finish second behind Wigan over this season, as it was last season. Leeds came up second best in everything last season, and Wigan are already setting the pace. And I don't think anybody will catch him this season, Stan.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Certainly, I think everybody in Rugby League outside Wigan want any team to catch Wigan. I don't think they mind really at the moment. But it's going to be Halifax kick off. Leeds to see Russell Smith, from Castleford, the referee. So we get the game underway. John Schuster going to kick it deep, I imagine, into the Leeds half. And here he comes now. The ball high in the air, and Leeds come away with it now through Gary Mercer, taking up, trying to get it out to clear his own 20-metre area, but he's pushed down by two Halifax players, the fair-haired Paul Moriarty, one of them, now Jim Fallon coming in field, and again the tackler's in to meet him. So at the moment Leeds have not made any break, but at least they're running it out from their own danger area. Neil Harmon there with James Lowe's acting halfback. And inside, on the inside, goes number 12, George Mann. So he's back in the side. He missed the game against St Helens. And you were saying that Halifax, Darrell, have only won here once. That was in 1992, 24-16, and Mark Preston scored 2 tries that day. But last season, Francis Cummins had a hat-trick of tries as that kick by Schofield finds touch on the far side, on the main stand side of the ground. And Francis Cummins scored a hat-trick of tries, Leeds winning 42-14. But anything can happen in these games. Scrum down, Halifax, head and ball, and they should get it.
Well, what usually happens in these games, Stan, is Halifax concede over 40 points. But they've won that scrum the first of the game. Preston in off the wing. Kemp and Forshaw moving in quickly to force Preston back. Now it's Halifax's turn to try and work an opening out of defence with Hutchinson, making his first senior appearance in the Halifax side for 3 seasons. He went to Hull KR as part of the swap for Graham Allis. And his form in the A-team and the injury has forced him to look at him in the first team, with a view perhaps to keeping on a permanent move. That last tackle looking a bit high on Moriarty. Parker trying to drop junk underneath the Leeds tacklers. Back for the kick. Deep down into Leeds territory, forcing Alan Tate back towards his try line, but the ball bouncing dead. Leeds will bring it back to the 20-metre line.
Obviously playing safe there and not wanting to either knock on behind his own line or get tackled with the ball and then knock on inside the danger line. But Fallon trying to clear a zone and put Leeds on the attack once more. It's Gary Mercer. Crowd a bit upset by that tackle. Sorry, it's number 4, Craig Innes. That's Gary Mercer. 2 New Zealanders, of course. Here come Leeds making bacon. It's Forshaw. He's got Neil Harmon up on the inside of him, and one thinks about Forshaw. He's playing some good rugby, some good solid rugby for Leeds at the moment. Now they're trying to spread it wide onto the left side, but they come back inside. Schofield try through a gap. It's Gary Mercer, and Gary Mercer's tackled before he can get rid of the ball. There perhaps was a slight overlap on the outside. Francis Cummins now playing at centre, and I think that's his favourite position for you. And personally, he's played on the wing. That's taken up a high ball. He's gone towards the line, but Halifax line, it went backwards, and Carl Briggs dives on it bravely as the Leeds players get him down, and Halifax now to go on the attack.
A good set of 6 by Leeds, making ground towards the Halifax line, pushing Halifax back. They have to come out of defence again with John Bentley. There's plenty of numbers for Leeds in defence. Rowley calling the shots from half-back. Brings in Carl Harrison. Again, there's 3 Leeds defenders. Rowley this time going on his own from acting half, gets the pass away. Looking to move it out with Baldwin. Tackled by Mann and Cummins. Back to Parker again for the kick deep into Leeds territory. Tate stretching for that one. He had to go for it. I think he touched it on the bounce, but he managed to rescue the position for Leeds.
It was towards the touchline, but managed to go down in the tackle before hitting the touchline. Now Fallon moving inside. It's marvellous how teams in this new modern game make it and Halifax got offside, that the winger does a lot of the running out. And one remembers in the old days it used to be the props that used to do all the heavy running the ball and the defence. So Leeds put on the attack. They're just inside the Halifax half with a tap penalty going to be taken by Gary Schofield. And again it into the forward, Fine Marlowe. Didn't make much ground there. Lowe's will be hoping that this time they make ground, and Neil Harmon does. Leeds, as they won here 42-14 last year, they'll be quite happy with that score, I think, today. Lowe's escapes the clutches of Moriarty, can't escape the clutches of John Fieldhouse. Schofield acting halfback, switches it out to the right. Tate up into the line, but it's no good passing there, because if Fallon had got the ball, immediately been bundled into touch. So Leeds move it to the left with Kemp, and there could have been an interception there, but he's been picked up by Innes, and this time it's number 5, Paul Cook, who's scored a lot of points this year, and he gets the ball away. Kemp to Schofield, looking to fan it wide. Gary Mercer out to Tate in the line, and he's bundled into touch. Possibly a thought there that Fallon might have come inside, and he flicked a reverse pass to him. And I think that Tate saying to Fallon, why didn't you come inside? Because it was obvious that one or both of us were going to get bundled into touch.
Yeah, I think they just ran out of room, Paul Cook. Perhaps running a bit too far. But if Fallon had come inside, I'm sure there would have been a try on that occasion. And going back to what you said earlier about wingers taking the first play, it's all right when you're the size of Jim Fallon, but some of the smaller wingers, perhaps like Mark Preston, you're only putting them in a position where they may be injured easily. But Halifax find themselves coming away from their own line again, in their own quarter of the field. Michael Jackson managing to play all the games so far this season, after a nightmare 2 seasons with injury. Bentley making his 100th appearance for Halifax today against his old club. He's only got 2 tries this season. He'd like to get 1 or 2 more, and this is the place to get him. For John Bentley against Leeds, scored some spectacular tries in his career. As Parker this time hoists it high, but Tate safe as houses as ever under the eyeball.
So Tate, who will be the captain of Scotland in the Emerging Nations World Cup tournament, which goes in conjunction with the main Halifax World Cup tournament, Centenary World Cup tournament, in a few weeks' time. But Leeds running it out now, trying to set up another platform for another attack. Man pulled down by number 7, Wayne Parker, and Parker, like a lot of scrum halves, does a lot of tackling for his forwards. Schofield through the gap. Ball there, did it bounce off a Halifax player? It probably did. Fallon up into the line. So Leeds really on the attack now. Cummins acting halfback. Schofield moving it out to Kemp. Into the gap goes Forshaw, but the gap is immediately closed by John Fieldhouse. And it could be, is it a penalty for Leeds for a high tackle? Michael Jackson, the other one, former Hunslet player, of course, Michael Jackson. So he's back in the city again. So Leeds have got a chance to go in front with a penalty kick. We've had come up to 8 minutes of play of the first half. It's 0-0, and a chance for Paul Cook, who so far this season has got 5 tries and 10 goals, and a chance to get 11 goals. But Leeds will be mindful of not giving penalties away themselves in the kickable area for John Schuster, who last season had a superb season and was the Halifax scoring machine. Got a prodigious, accurate boot. Well, Paul Cook taking the goal kicks this season. Well, Cummins has taken some as well. He's got 6 goals. Cook has got 10, and both have got tries as well. Cummins has got 4 tries, Cook has 5. So a chance now for Cook to put Leeds in front, right in front of the post, some 15 metres from the line. Comes, strikes the ball, and after 8 minutes, and in the 9th minute now, Leeds go ahead. A Paul Cook penalty for a high tackle on Forshaw by either John Fieldhouse or Michael Jackson. They both went in at the same time, so one can't tell who did the foul tackle, who was called for the foul by the referee, Russell Smith. But a foul it was, and so Halifax will kick on again. And how strange it is to see Halifax not in their customary blue and white hoops. Their away strip, I suppose, and Leeds playing in the strip they played against St Helens, those amber and blue quarters, which one or two of the spectators say they're quite popular. So maybe this could be Leeds, but I prefer the old Leeds strip with the irregular blue and amber hoops. Like that, and that wasn't surely played properly there, and it must be a penalty to Halifax. So surely, Fallon, and so it's going to be a kick at goal, and immediately John Schuster has a chance to put Halifax level.
Schuster, a long time pal in the sand up. Perhaps they've no water to make it damp with the shortage in West Yorkshire. Well, there's enough sand there for 3 kids to build castles on Blackpool Beach. That ball must be 6 or 8 inches off the ground. There's no wind to contend with this afternoon. It's perfect conditions at Headingley. As Schuster looks to level the score from 28 points out. He stroked it well. The linesman's flags go up, so the score levelled courtesy of the boat of Schuster. Fallon not playing the ball correctly. And after some 13 minutes, it's 2 points to Halifax, 2 points to Leeds. And Tony Kemp, returning from injury, will restart for Leeds, the former Castleford half-back. Bentley taking the inside pass, making it over the 20-metre line. A much more determined run this time, plays it to himself, up against Cook. Well, Russell Smith giving the penalty, said there were a marker in front, but I think it was Mike Forshaw, but he actually stood back there, Stan, when Bentley played the ball as if he had been in offside position.
Well, it could be, and it looks like Leeds have got another penalty here for offside. So within seconds of Halifax drawing level, 9 minutes it was Cook, 11 minutes Schuster, penalties apiece. Chance for Cook to kick his second goal. Penalty, and put Leeds back 4-2. Well, I think both sides have got too many good players in to make it a game that is decided on penalties, surely. So a play, obviously the referee thought that the Leeds player was the required distance to make himself a marker. So Cook again. Round the corner kicker, like it is in rugby league these days. Not so many toe-end kickers at all in any spheres of the game at all, whether professional or amateur. And Cook strikes out immediately through the middle. The touch judges, who must independently put their flags up now this season, do so to signify that Cook has given Leeds a 4-2 lead. And we've had 13 minutes. So after 9 minutes without a score, we've had 6 points in 4 minutes, all penalties. So Halifax will kick off again. And I've no doubt that Schuster will put it deep into the Leeds half of the field, signifying to his players to get onside, to make sure they stay onside, and Leeds collect and run it out through Tony Kemp. Usually it's been Tony Kemp collecting, then passing to George Mann, and George Mann has done the trying to burst the first line of defence, but this time Kemp took it up himself. And again, but this time it is George Mann, but he hadn't got any pace up at all to start running, so there was no chance of him going to get through the Halifax line on that occasion. 3 players pull down Neil Harmon. This time Leeds, a little shuffle there which didn't confuse any of the Halifax players, and they get it out this time to Lowe's, and I think one or two Halifax players claiming then it had been held in the tackle, but obviously the referee had not shout held, and kick into touch, just bounced just short of the touchline by Gary Schofield, always recognisable on the field with his socks rolled down by his ankles, as if to say, well, I'm going to put some players roll the sleeves up, I roll my socks down, and it still works just the same.
Well, it does for Schofield. He's been in great form. Perhaps giving Phil Larder a nudge that he's still available coming up to the World Cup. As Hutchinson brings it forward for Halifax. Now with Jackson. Met head on by Craig Innes. And Jackson felt the full force of Craig Innes head on there. And clutching his wrist as he goes back down to the ground after playing the ball. Baldwin up against 6 and 7 for Leeds. Kemp and Schofield. Obviously a bit of an indiscretion there, spotted by Russell Smith. Halifax get the penalty, full-back Micah Manga puts it into touch. And interesting in the back there, it's Abby Akuku, who's come on obviously for Mark Preston. Well, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with Mark Preston, but Akuku's going to get his chance. Very limited opportunities so far this season for the former London Bronco, as Harrison takes it off the short ball. Well tackled by Schofield. Rowley tries to set it up, the chip through, running into the Leeds defence. Tate collects it from in front of his own post and relieves the pressure back to the quarter line for Leeds.
Again, Fallon takes up the ball, and it's Moriarty and Fieldhouse together who tackle him. Leeds ball spill there, and what's the referee going to give there? High tackle, he says. Penalty for a high tackle there on Gary Mercer. Now Fy Marlowe trying to get Forshaw through a gap. But immediately, and there's a gap there. It's closed. Forshaw takes the ball and now into the Halifax defence, but there's no support with him, so he takes it as far as he can. He looked around to see where the support was, saw there wasn't on, and ran it as far as he can. Now a long pass by Schofield into Cummins, and Cummins scores a try, his 5th try of the season, and he'll be looking to score 3 tries for the 2nd year running against Halifax. But Halifax, when Forshaw took the ball up there seemed to be no gap there. He took it as far as he can with no support, and then Schofield, a long pass, seemed to catch the Halifax defence out.
Well, Leeds have been doing it in the first 20 minutes. Halifax defence has been a bit poor, and Leeds have been able to get the ball out in the tackle. They're making them few extra yards all the time with sucking the men in to make the tackle, then releasing the ball. And this time it's paid dividends for Leeds, as Francis Cummins gets the first try of the game and extends the lead to 8 points to 2.
8 points to 2, 18 minutes gone. And the close-cropped Paul Cook will attempt to add the conversion points to this to make it 10-2 and give Leeds that 8-point cushion. Ball up in the air, and the touch judges signify it was successful, so Leeds now take a 10 points to 2 lead after 18 minutes, and that was the first time that either side's defence had been breached, and Leeds were the first to do it. So Halifax will kick off again, and Leeds have a chance with getting the ball back, providing it's not knocked on, to set up another attack. Schuster again. And Leeds at the moment have made, I think, far less mistakes than they have in previous games at this stage of any of their home games. They're looking, of course, for their 3rd successive victory, their 3rd successive game at home, by the way, to make them 4 wins in 5 games. Only blot on there this season is the match against Castleford, which they lost by 20-18 after leading 18-12 at half-time. Cook is pushed down, and I think that's the first time he's had the ball other than to put the ball down to take goal kicks. Craig Innes, the All Black. Schofield to put the kick in. Into the Halifax half, sees that nobody's covering down the Halifax right. So the fullback, Mike Amarga, has to come back and get the ball. And he's put down. Leeds were onside that time, and Halifax now on the attack.
Yeah, with a good chase by Cook and Mann from the kick. A man having to do his own work. No John Bentley back there. But the kicking game for Leeds could be advantageous now as they try to keep Halifax in their own half. Baldwin pushes away. I think it was Innes. A long way to go for Simon Baldwin. It's actually Cummins who's chasing him. Alan Tate's going across, but Baldwin's going to get a superb try from out of his own half. Well, Halifax come up with an instant reply to that Leeds try. And there were 4 or 5 passes before it got to Baldwin. Cummins went to tackle Baldwin, and Baldwin just brushed him away. And Cummins, normally a speed merchant, couldn't catch Baldwin. And he just carried on towards the line, and even Alan Tate couldn't catch him. So plenty of speed from the big Halifax loose forward, Stan.
Yeah, one of these players, together with Paul Rowley, who of course came across from Lee after C. Sims had been made the coach at Halifax. So he knew what Baldwin could do before he'd even joined Halifax, like Paul Rowley, and I think they've been possibly 2 of the successors in the side.
Well, Baldwin's had a slow start to the season. Rowley, 2 high points with his 2 tries at Oldham for with inside his own half, but Baldwin there showing plenty of pace. He looked to be going at half pace, but neither Cummins nor Tate managed to get across to him. And Baldwin went 40-50 metres for only his 2nd try of the season, and it's brought Halifax right back in it at 10 points to 6. It's left Schuster a kick on the touchline. Just a metre in. Just the 1 penalty so far for Schuster. This to cut the lead to 10 points to 8. I think 1 or 2 of the Leeds supporters are complaining over the time that Schuster takes to line up this conversion attempt. Well, it looks good, it's coming round. Linesman's flag stay down. Still plenty of time to go, but the lead cut to 10 points to 6. Halifax coming straight back into it. Baldwin showing the speed perhaps that he picked up from playing at centre last season, as he did for so many games. As Kemp puts it deep for Leeds. Parker inside to Bentley. Into Craig Innes. Good tackling again by Innes. Amanga up from full back. Just losing his footing as he tried to throw the step. Fieldhouse into Kemp. Gets the ball away to Simon Baldwin. Baldwin perhaps still recovering from that long range try just a minute ago, not able to get away from Schofield. Moriarty into Alman and Famalo. 2 Leeds props. Harrison to Parker. A chance now. Amanga brings Bentley on the inside. Away from Lowe's. Bentley into centre field, into Mercer, trying to push away, gets over halfway. He's brought down by the Leeds front row. Illegally, says referee Russell Smith. Halifax will get a penalty. Referee seeing a stray arm around the head of John Bentley. Schuster given another opportunity to eat into the 10 points to 6 lead again from just inside the Leeds half. A huge kick if John Schuster can get this. He's had the practice with a long range effort from that try from Baldwin. This one a lot further out. It's almost 50 metres up to halfway. Schuster just stood a metre inside the whitewash. Leeds supporters complain again as Schuster lines up his 3rd attempt. 1 from 2, long look at the post, it's a long way off. He's launched it high enough. It hasn't got the length. It comes down under the post. And Alan Tate, well, that's just basic errors there, Stan. He'd all the time in the world. The ball coming down, no pressure, no wind, but just a stupid error by the fullback.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think if they'd probably been under pressure, they'd probably taken it with ease.
Well, they normally do, but Halifax come up with it from the back of the scrum with 6 tackles to go. Halifax fullback Micah Manga being dragged back by Tony Kemp, and Alan Tate looking to make up for that mistake under the post. Hutchinson bundled to the ground by a number of Leeds defenders. Fieldhouse off the short ball, looking to put the pass away. Rowley from acting half, looking for a way through the middle. Parker to Briggs. Halifax looking out wide. Jackson putting Schuster in the gap, but a superb tackle by Innes, trying to pull Schuster over the touchline. Briggs, drop goal specialist. Russell Smith holds his hands up. That's 4 for the season for Carl Briggs. A difficult angle. Seeing the Leeds defender standing back, taking his chance to pop over the 1-pointer to cut the lead to 3 points at 10 points to 7.
Well, 10 points to 7, and Halifax will get the ball back from the kick-off. So I suppose it's the old adage, get into your opponent's 20-metre area and make sure you get a point or two. Well, Halifax got the point there. They're going to get the ball back from the kick-off, or they should do, unless somebody makes the elementary error that Tate made. Yeah,
I think they might have been happy to come away with a 4 had Schuster got through, but that tackle from Innes was an absolute superb one on Schuster as he broke towards the Leeds line. Bentley looking for work again, up to the 20-metre line. Mercer puts him down. Rowley to Jackson. Moriarty almost losing that one. Good tackle by Kemp. Halifax may get 6 more there, as Moriarty says Kemp got his foot to the ball as he tried to play it. Fieldhouse, short ball to Harrison. Parker from acting half. Jackson obviously recovered from the knock he took earlier after that tackle from Innes. Briggs to Parker, drilling one down the touchline. It finds touch on the Leeds 20-metre line. A good kick by Parker, pushing Leeds back and perhaps looking for Leeds to make an error again, Stan.
Yeah, putting pressure on the Leeds defence. It's for Leeds now to just slow things down a little, get things cohesive again and get the game back on the rails, because they've hardly had the ball in the last few minutes. They've had to do all the chasing, all the tackling, and all they have to do is kick off. But they still lead by 10 points to 7, and Cook takes it into the middle of the field, just short of the 20-metre area, before he's met by the Halifax tacklers. Now Craig Innes trying to run it out. She does. Jamie Lowe's at halfback. Gary Mercer taking it even further away from the Leeds danger mark. Running across the field more now with Fire Marlowe, nicknamed by the Leeds supporters Flymo. This time to Schofield. One thought he was going to put a kick in there because obviously but the ball, they're fanning about basketball. Now here's Cook, he's surrounded by tacklers, but Takums Tate, who loses his footing. So it'll be a kick now, and Schofield signalling what to his players what he's going to do. Ball up in the air, we'll just see what happens here. Umaga takes it beautifully, and he's jumped on by George Mann, who I watched closely there, and he was definitely behind Schofield when Schofield kicked the ball.
Increasing his reputation again, Umaga. He had the pressure on from Mann, but went up beautifully to take that ball out of the air. But just an ankle tap from a Leeds defender will give the Halifax full-back the chance to put the ball into touch. Take Halifax a bit further away from their own line as Fieldhouse drives it up into George Mann. Rowley acting half with Harrison running off his shoulder. Jackson up to halfway, trying to step inside. Still trying to stride out of the tackle there, Michael Jackson. Rowley as ever there at acting half. Briggs to Baldwin. Tackled by Famalo and George Mann. 10 metres inside the Leeds half. The kick over the top from Briggs. Depends on the bounce. Tate gets it. It's going to give a knock on. It was good pressure by Briggs. Tate injuring himself. Put his body on the line. It's a pressure situation. Alan Tate had no option but to go down for the ball, but Briggs forcing the error again from the Leeds fullback.
Yeah, I think that was a bit unfortunate there. We take out the ball, and I think that the follow-through from the Halifax, although not unfair, it knocked the ball out of Tate's grasp there, and the knock-on ensured.
Here goes Baldwin again. He's got the pace. Bentley held off the ball there by Paul Cook. And I think, judging by the reaction from Parker, it might even be a penalty try. James Lowes doesn't agree with it, but he definitely had hold of John Bentley as Baldwin released the pass. And it looks as though the penalty try will be credited to John Bentley. And Paul Cook's going in the sin bin for speaking out a turn as well. While Halifax had the overlap and Lowes taking the option just to obstruct Bentley. It was a good break from Baldwin. From the back of the scrum. Almost breaking through, managing to get the pass away. And it would have been perfect for Bentley had he not have been held back. Cook goes to the sin bin for speaking out a turn, so that'll increase to Leeds woes as they're down to 12 men. He'll not see any more of the action in the first half, and Schuster increases it to 13 points to 10. Well, Leeds have been doing a good enough defensive job, but I don't think new coach Dean Bell, he said he was impressed with his players last week. I don't think he'll be too impressed with that, Stan.
Now, two errors, one unenforced on Tate, and one enforced error, I think, has done it by, has put Halifax. There've been two knock-ons by Tate, to say one that an easy one that he usually takes them all day knocked on, and Halifax came away with points on that occasion, and they have done on this occasion. But penalty try to John Bentley as Tony Kemp kicks off and puts it back into Halifax hands.
And it'll be Bentley who will draw the boos from the Leeds supporters. I think on that occasion it should be the offending player that gave away the penalty try that should be booed by the Leeds supporters, not John Bentley. He's only doing his job. But Halifax trying to move it quickly now. Amanga up to Bentley. Bentley's over halfway. He looks back inside to find Paul Rowley. Well, Bentley must have lost a bit of confidence there, because normally he would have gone for the line. Now they look for the quick play as Leeds defenders get back. Great ball by Fieldhouse to Parker. Parker looking inside for support there from Briggs. It's gone backwards. Fieldhouse, the long ball out to Hutchinson. Hutchinson is going to put a Kuku in for his first try for Halifax. The extra man telling for Halifax. But to the credit, they kept the ball alive well. It went through 6 or 7 pair of hands. Parker looked as though he could have gone. He managed to get the ball away. The long pass out to Hutchinson. He just passed it on to a Kuku, and Halifax quick to seize on the advantage of the extra man and stretch the lead to 17 points to 10.
I think the extra man told there as far as Leeds are concerned, and Leeds have got to get their game back on track. They're some 6 minutes short of the interval, and 17-10 down. It could be 19-10 if he kicks this. It's about a yard further away than it's right on the touchline. This one is Schuster. Last one he had from this angle, which he missed, was about 2 or 3 yards. You can see the pile of sand to the right, or the little pile of sand which was the one before. So Schuster has had one from here before, so he's had practice from this range, and can he be successful this time? Leeds hope not.
Schuster, normally the most accurate of kickers, is 50% rate, 2 from 4. This one right out on the touchline. He's kicked them from here before. They're not beyond his range. Well, this one is again. That's 3 failures for Schuster, but with Halifax leading 17 points to 10 and a man up, going in towards the break, 2 tries in 2 minutes. It's looking good up to now. They seem to have struggled somewhat into this lead, this 17 points to 10 lead, keeping the likes of Gary Mercer and Tony Kemp quiet. Mercer, of course, with Kevin Iro out injured today, had storming games against Halifax in that big win last season. But Halifax managing to keep them quiet up to now. Bentley running across the face of the post. Schofield gives Halifax 6 more. Moriarty puts his shoulder down almost up to the 20-metre line. A cuckoo from acting half. Rowley to Harrison. Good tackling by Forshaw and Famalo around the legs of Harrison. Parker taking it forward. Arman tackles. Parker gets the pass away. It's scrappy, but Halifax will play it on. Micah Mangle looking for the gap. Kemp and Innis, the 2 New Zealanders, combining well to make the tackle. Rowley, well, managing to get away from the grasp of Tony Kemp. Manga to Jackson. Jackson to Schuster. Schuster against Alan Tate. Stepping inside, good tackle by Tate. It touched the Leeds and Halifax gets 6 more, but Carl Biggs is going to ground it for Halifax. Leeds supporters complaining, but Halifax won't. They got 6 more as it came off a Leeds and Fieldhouse had Briggs on his shoulder to touch down to increase the lead. Coming up to half-time to 21 points to 10.
Yeah, I think Leeds were complaining that Baldwin was held in the tackle and he got away. I think that was the complaint by the Leeds supporters there. I'm seeing some of the things which have gone on in past games, justifiable in some games, but again it depends on the referee of the day. And I've seen players held for shorter than that and try to get away and had a penalty scored against them. But this time the luck was with Rowley and with Baldwin, and Halifax got the luck also of it going off a Leeds hand as a Leeds player tried to get into between the 2 Halifax players and knock the ball back, and unfortunately he knocked it forward.
Well, I think it was Forshaw who tried to get his hand to it. You can't blame him. 1 man against 2, just trying to disrupt the play, but in that position you're virtually on a loser when you've 2 men bearing down on you. Fieldhouse did well to get it away to Briggs. Schuster from in front of the post. Another success extends the lead to 23 points to 10. Kemp from the centre spot again. Omanga inside to Jackson. Charging out of defence, Michael Jackson. Forshaw was the first man there. Schofield around the top. And Jackson gingerly to his feet. It looks like it could be a leg injury this time for Michael Jackson. Rowley to Moriarty, running out wide. Striding through the first tackler into Faimalo and Jim Fallon. Fieldhouse. Well tackled by Forshaw. Fallon coming inside. And Fallon making his 3rd tackle. This time it's with Mick Shaw, one of the Leeds substitutes who's just come on. And Leeds got Halifax on the attack again. Hutchinson too. A cuckoo fancies a run round Tate, brushes him away. He might not have got that down. What will the referee say? Alan Tate's on the floor, but a cuckoo's been given his 2nd try. There's less than a minute to go in the first half. Well, it looked a bit dodgy from here as a cuckoo went to put the ball down. Referee a lot closer than we are. Alan Tate slow to get to his feet. A cuckoo showing his strength to brush him aside. And he'll claim his 2nd try, and it looks as though Halifax are taking this game, taking total control of this game now with 4 tries in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, I think the extra man is telling as far as Leeds are concerned, and they'll rue that try where they were leading 10-7 when Cook was sent off and Bentley was awarded a penalty try, because had Bentley been able to get in for a try, who knows, Schuster might not have kicked that goal. Leeds would have still been well in this game. They're not out of it, there's still half to go, and certainly Dean Bell will have words to say at half-time to his side, and I think there'll be a lot of words also said in the Halifax side about keeping the game going, but Leeds have certainly got to climb this mountain now, particularly if this goal is kicked. It's 27-10 at the moment, and this could stretch it to 29-10. Is it going to be third time lucky for Schuster?
Well, he's had plenty of practice from that position. It looks to be dropping short again. Well, Schuster not having a happy day with the boot. That's 4 misses. Normally the most prolific and accurate of goal kickers is John Schuster. At 27-10 now, Halifax comfortably in the lead up to half-time, taking full advantage of that Leeds 12-man defence. I mean, under normal circumstances, most people seem to think teams perform better when they do get a man sent off, but it hasn't worked on this occasion. And Halifax willing to take full advantage. Jackson in the wars again. Moriarty, who's down on one knee, gets up again. Kemping over the top with Mercer. Tony Kemp being spoken to for the high tackle on Moriarty. Levelling up the penalty count, 6 to Leeds, 6 to Halifax. But Halifax with a mountain of possession in this last 15 minutes of the first half. And Fieldhouse to drive it forward. The hooter sounds for the end of the first half. Leeds supporters booing. Halifax, after a slow start and going down, managing to claw their way back into this game. Although it has to be said, Leeds were down to 12 men. 4 of Halifax's tries coming in the last 10 minutes of the first half. Produced tries for Bentley, Briggs, Baldwin, 2 for Akuku. A drop goal for Briggs. Schuster, 3 goals from 7 attempts. Leeds with tries from Cummins and Cook. 2 penalties from Paul Cook. Looked to be well on the way early on in the first half, but Halifax trying to get over that midweek defeat against Wigan, Stan.
Leeds come out in the second half knowing there's a lot of work to do if league points are going to be claimed in this. If not, well, it's back to a drawing board, and one wonders what Leeds can do. The contentious issue, of course, was still that John Bentley penalty try. I have a feeling it was given by the touch judge and not the referee, but whatever happens now, it was given. It's on the board now, and that put Halifax on a roll, and they scored 20 points in that last 9 minutes. So we're going to kick off. Leeds are going to kick off, and they're going to find Halifax with the ball again in their hands, and Leeds have hardly seen the ball for the last quarter of an hour of the first half. They're not going to see it for the first few minutes of the second half either.
Well, I've just been stood in a queue with some Leeds supporters at the hamburger stand, and 1 or 2 have said when Leeds want to lose, when Leeds decide to lose, they know how to do it in style. So a negative attitude. I'm sure that won't have been emanating from Dean Bell in the Leeds dressing room at half-time. And there's the error by Jackson, immediate chance for Leeds to put the first points on the board. That's a storming run by Famalo, the Leeds prop.
And Leeds now with a chance to get 6 points quickly. Craig Innes trying to go on his own, but the Halifax defence were quickly back to that. In fact, they could have been offside there. The referee perhaps a little kind to Halifax there, because they'd not got back to the try line, which they should do, before that tackle made. Now here comes number 15 in, Phil Hassan, and he's on the field as substitute. Mick Shaw going from acting halfback, trying to go squeeze through the defence. Tries to reach out for the ball, reach out for the line. He's held back, his arms are. And this time Hassan, acting halfback. The ball bounces, but it's picked up nicely by Kemp to Mercer, to George Mann. Now's a chance here for Leeds, but they've been squoze out there. Now that could have been a second tackle coming in there by Parker there, but as he was getting up, and that was penalised against St Helens off a Leeds foot. Then bad pass by Kempy, and acknowledge it to his colleague Gary Mercer. Gary Mercer not able to reach down to pick that one up.
Well, there should have been a chance there for Leeds. Nothing coming of it but the mistake, which lets Halifax off the hook. And off goes Abi Akuku, looking for his third try. Hutchinson pushes away Hassan, throws out a wild pass. It's Briggs who manages to collect it, but Schuster, basic error as with Tate in the first half. He had the time, perhaps the pass a little bit low to Schuster. Halifax only made one handling error in the first half. That's why they kept the possession for so much of that last 15 minutes and scored all those points, and they won't want to start making them so early in the second half.
So Leeds chance to put pressure on now. They've got to put pressure on Halifax if they're going to come out of this one with anything, and that's certainly a way to do it. Kemp trying to put number 3 through the gap, Francis Cummins, and now Craig Innes takes on himself, loses his footing as he looks behind to see where his support players are, and the Halifax player lying prone on the ground at the moment, so Leeds can perhaps take advantage of it. Long ball by Kemp, and it's not a good one, but it is picked up by Forshaw through a gap. Ball bounces, not a good pass, but it's still taken by Cummins. Is it down with Shaw? Now it comes to Kemp, and a run around by Schofield. A long ball by Craig to Craig Innes, and Craig Innes for a tie, and that's just what Leeds wanted in the early stages of the second half. And we've been playing some 2 minutes of the second half, and Leeds do get 4 points, a chance of getting 6, and that would take advantage because Halifax really were down to 12 men at that stage because Rob Hutchinson was injured and couldn't take any part in the Halifax defensive work. So as Halifax took advantage of Leeds having 12 men, active 12 men, so although Halifax had got 13 men on the field, only 12 were active there, Darryl.
Yeah, I don't think it made any difference with the opening pressure, or the pressure that Leeds have had in the opening couple of minutes. I think as much to blame is Schuster's mistake from when he dropped the ball to give Leeds the advantage again. But Leeds, as every professional side should, playing to the whistle, taking advantage of the mistakes, and coming up with the first try of the second half. It puts the lead to 13 points. There's still a long way to go, but the longer the better for Leeds, I suppose, as they try to salvage 2 points from this game. And Cook will look to increase his points tally to 10, which he does with his third successful kick of the afternoon.
So Halifax, although kick-off, Leeds should get the ball back, provided they don't make any elementary mistakes. A chance now perhaps that they can make points on the board and get a lot of points in a short time like Halifax did at the end of the first half. So Halifax will kick off, and it looks like John Bedley putting the kick in. Puts it in a low kick this time, not a long kick, and it's taken by number 15, Phil Hassan. He runs infield. Mick Shaw acting half-back. Taken on by Fallon. Could have been a high tackle there. The referee says play on. Couldn't play the ball properly, did, but Mick Shaw takes it on, and his effervescent burst from when he's come on as substitute in the past couple of games have really put both the Warrington and St Helens defences under a lot of pressure, and he's putting Halifax under pressure too with that one. Again, yes, well, this time it's Gary Mercer running it on, looking for support, but he'd been overrun there by Marlow. And so Leeds had to go down in the tackle. Now Schofield puts a high ball in. Nobody back there. Find Marlowe. Has it come back? And it could be offside. Yes, an offside there by Simon Baldwin. And Margot went up for the ball, so Leeds run it again at them. And this time it's Jamie Lowe's. They're trying to get a 4 points. Looks like a knock on there. The referee says no. But the referee was better placed than possibly anybody on the field. Long ball by Schofield. Another long ball outside to this side. And in comes Craig Innes. Can he get in? He's already got one try in his first few moments of the second half, and he's looking for another one. Leeds wanting to get back into this game again. Now here comes ball out again with Gary Mercer. They're keeping it alive with Forshaw. Forshaw can't get that one. He's surrounded by Halifax Red, including the big John Fieldhouse, who has put on a lot of weight since I first saw him in his early days with Oldham. He had a sort of a narrow haste, and now there's a chance here for Leeds. They're taking it out on the outside, and it's Jim Fallon. Jim Fallon puts the ball down. It's kicked away by Wayne Parker in disgust after Fallon had put the ball down. So within 3 minutes of getting another one, Leeds have got another 4 points, and now it's the turn of Halifax nerves to jangle.
Well, Leeds have just run Halifax ragged in the opening minutes of the second half, keeping the ball alive, stringing the passes together and drawing most of the Halifax defence in there. It was just a walk-in for Fallon on the right-hand side. It cuts the lead to 7 points, and Halifax don't look the same team as they did, or the same team that went off at the end of the first half in jubilation. It could suddenly be turning to despair as the lead is cut to 7 points, and Cook with 100% accuracy so far could cut it to 5 with this conversion.
So Leeds have seemed to be like Halifax having possession in the second half. It's Leeds, and it just shows what you can do when you have the ball and you use it correctly. Halifax did it, Leeds are doing it now. Cook, right-footed, can he cut the lead to 5 points? Ball up in the air, cuts the lead to 5 points, and Leeds are within a score now. A converted try have taken the lead back again. And who said Leeds were dead and buried at half-time? Certainly not me. Well, you can't rule Leeds out, and it's 27 to Halifax, and it's 22 to Leeds, and a scoring bonanza in this game. One would think that the defences are the two poorest defences in the league, and they're not. There's been some good handling, and the ball has been thrown about with some gay abandon at times, certainly on that last move, and Innes was so near getting into the left-hand corner for Leeds before the ball was fanned to the right-hand side, and Jim Fallon touchdown, and Cook there. Now it's Gary Mercer running the ball, running across the field, now getting the ball away there. Now Leeds setting up another attack down the side of Craig Innes, and Craig Innes has put down Carl Harrison, who of course started his rugby league career with Bramley, in Bramley Colts side. I remember seeing him play in the Bramley Colts side, and he was a tall lad then. And he's not shrunk by any means. Now Leeds down the middle there. They're cutting the Halifax defence to ribbon, and that looked a high tackle. And is that a sending off for? Well, I think he can consider himself lucky if he stops on the field after that tackle, because that was a high tackle. And they're patting him on the back, or his Halifax colleagues. And I have a feeling, I think that should be a sending off. He's going to be lucky if he stops on the field. And the referee's going to his pocket for a card. And is he going to go off? And it's a red card. And yes, I was feeling that would happen there. And certainly it's on his first appearance on a British Rugby League field. Asa Amoni, who's come on as substitute, has gone off, and so it's Halifax with 12 men. Now, will Halifax raise their game with 12 men, or can Leeds push the Halifax defence and cut it to ribbons like the 30 men of Halifax did to Leeds in the first half? Kemp puts the ball into touch, and now Leeds now have got to spread the ball wide, just like Halifax did against the 12-man Leeds side. Or will the match on Wednesday night take his toll on the Halifax? Shaw wriggles under one tackle, it's thrown back, and of course all this tackling by Halifax will take its strength of them in the long run. Leeds want a penalty because he was held down in the tackle, or that's what they paid for. Now here comes Leeds on the attack. Forshaw trying to get through, but the tackle there by Schuster saves the day. Halifax running out quickly now. Leeds have got to get up in support and move the ball quickly to either side of the field and get the Halifax defence. Schofield, there's through a gap there. He's got support, but he can't. And in for a... Amaga makes a great tackle there. Try-saving tackle. Fallon. Leeds players standing around. They should be looking for the ball and getting on. Fire Marlow can't get the ball out because Halifax tacklers are in. Referee waves them back. Can't play the ball quicker to catch Halifax players offside. Now here comes a kick by Schofield up in the air. Is that going to be pressure? It's taken by a Leeds player. In for the looks like Gary Mercer. Is he in for a try? He's given the try, and Gary Mercer, is it, who scored the try? George Mann in for the try. First man to congratulate him is Gary Mercer, and Leeds are back in this game with a vengeance. 10 minutes gone of this second half, and Leeds now within a point of Halifax, and of course Halifax down to 12 men with Amoni send off. Amoni from Blaney Bears of Australia, a team which neither I nor my Halifax colleague Daryl McCoy have heard of. So, but that's not surprising. I suppose there's a lot of teams in Britain that Australians have never heard of either. I was looking through some of the... I was looking through the first Wembley programme the other day, and I found one team that played in an early round, Uno's Dabs. Played out about that, and that was in the 1929 season, the first Wembley final. I'm looking in the programme yesterday, actually. So Cook to take this. This will put Leeds in front. Try there by George Mann has given Leeds, together with Craig Guinness and Jim Fallon, tries the ball up in the air. Is it on? It's there, and Leeds go back in front at 28-27. Well, never count Leeds, and so Leeds leading 28-27. So Halifax to kick off again. They're doing exactly the same as what Leeds did just before half-time. That's all. Leeds touched the ball when they kicked off. And one can say this point still started with that John Schuster knock-on. But Leeds have got the ball back every time. Run it back at Halifax. Fallon. Now here comes number 12, the try scorer, George Mann. Shaw. Schofield slowing it down just that little bit to enable his players. Fine Marlow breaks 2 tackles, gets the ball away, but there's a tackle coming from a Halifax player. A penalty there to Leeds for not letting him play the ball, and the Halifax player gets up very slowly, and I think it's John Schuster. So could it be John Schuster putting his own side under pressure once more? So Leeds a tap. 30 metres out, running it strongly. Neil Harmon looked like a chance of a high tackle there, and again is holding down. Shaw up to the tacklers, can't get to him because they'll be offside. The first line of tacklers, but the second line are okay, they're onside. Harmon again acting halfback. Not many often times you see a proper acting halfback. Here comes the run around by Kemp. Now Leeds are going to stretch it again. Fallon, he's got a cuckoo slips, and Fallon goes over the line through a tackle by number 13, Simon Baldwin, who scored that great try in the first half, and Fallon stretches the lead to some 5 points, and have Halifax shot their bolt. Daryl.
I don't really know what to say, Stan. It's this game's had everything. Asa Ramone on for his, never even got a touch of the ball. He touched Tony Kemp's head, so he could be attending a disciplinary meeting. Halifax should have been coasting at 27-10 at half-time, but Leeds have come out, and I'm impressed with this Mick Shaw. He really has made a difference in the opening minutes of the second half. Darting runs from acting half, and he's caused Halifax all sorts of problems. But to the credit, Leeds have not let their heads go down, and obviously whatever Dean Bell and assistant Hugh McGann had to say at half-time, it's working out on the field.
Working out on the field indeed. Now Cook to stretch the lead now to be 34-27, which will be a 7-point margin. Ball up in the air on its way. Will it make it? It does. A fine kick by Cook, and he's taken over as the Leeds kicker. Seems strange that early on, the first couple of games this season, that Francis Cummins was the kicker. He got injured, was not in the side, and then Cook has taken over. So Cook once again makes it 34-27, and Halifax now, well, are they staring down a gun barrel? Still plenty of time to go. Some 25 minutes or so to go in this game. And Leeds set off again. This time Mercer breaks 2 tackles before it's Rowley who throws him down. Rowley's not had much chance to show his running skills today. Former Lee player who was with Steve Sims at Lee when Steve was the coach over there on that young Lee side. Leeds now throwing it wide, trying to get through. Innes can't break the Schuster tackle. This time it's Manu was the acting halfback then. Neil Harmon hauled down. Shaw signalling where he wants players but doesn't use them. Runs round Harmon. Again, don't know whether this is a planned move by Leeds, but George Mann was the acting halfback. The ball going dead. Is it going to? It goes dead. Touching goal. So be a tap. So Halifax, for the first time this half, are going to get a chance to run the ball.
Well, a bit. I think they're probably still in a state of shock, as Leeds probably were when they trooped off at the end of the first half. But Halifax having to do it with 12 men for the rest of the game. And Fieldhouse trying to drive it on for Halifax. Now Rowley with the little run from acting half. It's now the Halifax that are facing the uphill struggle. Briggs to Fieldhouse. Out to Amanga, trying to make the extra man up in attack. Schuster brought back on the inside. Schuster with a step, gets it to Briggs. Briggs has support from Baldwin. Tries scoring in the first half, Simon Baldwin. Taking Halifax to within sight of that Leeds try line. It touches Fieldhouse's hand. It looked to have gone backwards after it had touched John Fieldhouse, but Halifax spilling the possession under the Leeds post. Both sets of players taking a breather, but Leeds it is who'll win possession from the scrum.
Well, both sides deserve a little breather in this game. It's been breathtaking from start to finish, and particularly now Leeds running down the middle. Craig Innes, and if there'd been support there, there'd been more danger for Halifax. Shaw this time, and again Leeds take it on, this time by Gary Mercer. Number 17 on for Halifax is Carl Gillespie. Now Shaw breaks a tackle, half breaks another one, but it's Carl Harrison who pulls him down. Leeds trying to break the Halifax defence with Kemp. Kemp gets the ball away. A bit of juggling there by Leeds, keeps possession. Again, they turn it back through Gary Mercer. George Mann, he can't get the ball away, and it's a good tackle that by Carl Briggs. And again, Craig Innes, it's Gary Mercer. Gary Mercer and Craig Innes look very, very similar. Now, it's going to be a drop goal attempt. It's a drop goal attempt by Gary Schofield, which takes Leeds a further point in front, 35-27. And exactly like Carl Briggs did in the first half, get into your opponent's 20-metre area and get a point.
Well, it's pleased the Leeds supporters. It's just extending the lead, and Leeds will regain the possession from the kick-off. And it looks as though Leeds are going for the percentage rugby now, happy to keep the ball, play out the 6 tackles and force a 12-man Halifax into their own half and just basically keep the ball away from Halifax.
Precisely what they are doing. That's a long kick taken by Jim Fallon right on the touchline, then runs in field, obviously to get out of chance of being pushed into touch. Forshaw gets the ball away in the tackle. Shaw tries to wriggle between 2 defenders and can't. And they'll need a big bus, I think, to get round John Fieldhouse. The helmeted number 16, Nick Fozzard, on now, an 18-year-old prop, St Helens will tell you all about him as he ran through for 2 tackles. And now it's Leeds on the attack. It's going to be Craig Innes in again. We're put in, and Leeds underneath he's underneath the post this time, and Leeds really running riot at the moment. Their supporters, after booing them off at half-time, or maybe they were booing the referee, I don't know, but there was boos at half-time. The cheers are there, and so Craig Innes scores yet another try, and Leeds should take it beyond Halifax's reach now. We've just reached the halfway mark of the half, and, well, 27-10 down at half-time. They could be, after this kick, 41, so they'll have scored 31 points in 20 minutes, Leeds. And it just shows that you don't give up. This could be a showpiece or a way how rugby league should go. Don't give up if you're a lot of points down at half-time until the final hooter. The game is never lost. Leeds have given this up, they've not given up, and Cook with a chance yet again to kick the ball between the posts. He does, and that makes it 41-27. And quite frankly, Halifax will find it very hard to come from at this stage, Darryl.
Well, it should have been Halifax that were playing the Leeds game of keeping the possession and the lead in the second half. But they look as though they're going to struggle to get anywhere near Leeds now. Of course, you can't do anything when you don't have the ball. The only chance that Halifax have had, they spill possession in front of the Leeds post. But Leeds will be quite happy for Halifax to do that all afternoon. Keep possession and just keep piling on the points.
Just kicking off, that's what they want Halifax to do. Forshaw this time is tackled, and Shaw again brings Fallon into the play, but the Halifax defence don't let him run far. Now again Leeds, and this time they're running it out of their own half. Gary Mercer, Shaw again, an acting half-back. Chance there for Fozzard. He bursts through 2 and 3 St Helens defenders for a great try. Shaw wriggling his way through. And applause from the Leeds support. Harmon there. Schofield, there's nobody outside him. Ball back, was it a forward pass? He said he was tackled, so it was as it was the last tackle, whether it was a forward pass or held. It's the changeover, and Halifax now are not running up for the man in support.
I think that just about sums up how Halifax feel now, as the handover came there. Nobody in position to take the ball back to Leeds. Harrison will try and make it to halfway, but suddenly Halifax looking very lacklustre. Fieldhouse almost breaking through. Fozzard doing enough to bring him down. Briggs showing the ball, long pass out to Bentley, but Bentley's immediately wrapped up by Craig Innes. 5th tackle, the kick to put Tate under pressure, coming across towards it. In fact, it's Paul Cook that takes it. Good tackling by Moriarty as Halifax try to contain Leeds by their own line.
Fallon again gets past the first line of defence, can't beat the second, unless it makes valuable yardage away from his own line. Cook again this time. This time it's Kemp. And Kemp this time gets the ball to Schofield. Schofield pushes off Parker. Now a chance for Cummins. Took his eyes off the ball. So for a change, Halifax are going to get the ball inside the Leeds half and within striking distance of the Leeds line.
Well, they're within striking distance of the Leeds line, as you say, but they're going to find it very difficult with 12 men. And they're still shell-shocked from that start by Leeds in the second half. Bentley in off the wing. Brought down by Kemp, just outside the Leeds 20-metre line. Briggs shows it, tries to put Kemp away. Wrestling with Fozzard. I think he wants to play the ball quickly. Fozzard just hung on a couple of seconds too long. Halifax opting for the run with Harrison. looking for the points to claw themselves back into this match again. Briggs to Gillespie from a standing start, easily wrapped up by Forshaw. Rowley looking for support. Parker pops it up for Bentley. Kemp looked to go a little high on Bentley. I think he's going to give the knock on. He's complaining to the referees, John Bentley. And the way he's shaking his head, I presume the knock on has been given. Well, he's given the high tackle, but Parker gets it underway quickly to Moriarty. Brushing players off, and Halifax wasting possession on the first tackle. Well, Moriarty a bit too over-enthusiastic to get towards that Leeds line.
Yes, I don't think he saw Hassan in between his teammate on the left-hand side, and Hassan easily, it was probably a very easy pass for him, which he took. Now Lee's trying to fan it quickly out to that left-hand side. Now Cummins, can he break inside? Comes inside, breaks one tackle, coming over the halfway line, still going, he's still going to go, he's going to score this time, he's going to be very hard to catch, but a good tackle there, but has he got to try down? Has he got over the line? Because that was a good attempt. And he's given the referee, the in-goal touch judge there, gave the ball there, and the Halifax player doesn't want to let go of Cummins' foot. And one remembers Cummins scoring a try at Wembley 2 years ago when he got the ball, and he was professional at a young teenager, and he never looked behind him to see where the Wigan players were, and he scored a try. Leeds losing on then, but he's scored a try now in a Leeds, what could be a winning side now. Some 67 minutes gone of this game, and Francis Cummins, who scored the first Leeds try, put Leeds at 10-2 in front early in the second half, and so Cook now with a chance to score, to kick his 9th goal of the afternoon. And a try by Cummins, that's his second. So are we going to get... And try scorers seem to come in pairs. Craig Innes has got 2. Jim Fallon's got 2. But Cook now, the slide hold up while the player is receiving attention. Should have no trouble with this. This will stretch the league to some 20 points, and it's not a happy sight for the scoreboard, is the Halifax fans and their players, is it?
Well, it should have been at 27-10. These just to come to Headingley and score 27 points should be enough to win, but coming back from 10-2 down originally should have been enough for Halifax, but they've seen little possession in the second half. All they're doing at that end of the field is watching the big electronic scoreboard roll up the Leeds score seemingly every couple of minutes.
In 27 is sometimes, when you're away from home, is enough to win most games. So Halifax will kick off, and they're coming up very slow, as if they've given up on this game already. And I can say that St Helens were, well, they weren't 20 points down against Leeds, but they never gave up. Certainly Bobby Goulding at that stage, but Halifax don't seem in any hurry to kick off. And they're making a substitution, that's why, and it's kicked by Carl Briggs, and he puts a long kick in, taken on his knees by a Leeds player, throws it to Gary Mercer. Tony Kemp, I imagine that will be. But Shaw now, Leeds, they'll be looking to get 50 points, I think, now. Certainly points differential counts a lot, probably towards the end of the season. We'll never know. Shaw, a daunting run from Shaw, takes him through the defence. He's up to over the halfway line and into the Halifax defensive part of the pitch. And again, Leeds are running away from the tacklers now. Craig Innes looking for Hassan, and Hassan weaves and ducks and gets through tackles. He's put down, and that looked like poor Rowley who did that tackle. Again, Leeds, they want more points. I think that ball should have been passed out there to number 12, George Mann, but whatever, Neil Harmon took it himself. Obviously a drop goal here, and Schofield, his second drop goal, makes it 48-27. And the score sheets for the commentators here are quickly running out, the spaces for putting the scorers down. We've still got some 12 minutes to go in this game. It's about 11, probably about 11 minutes to go. And Gary Schofield, another drop goal, his second drop goal. You can keep him quiet for times, and all of a sudden he comes into the game for no apparent reason.
Well, it's the best reason you can come into a game for, Stan. I think just to put 1 point on the board when you're rattling it round. Referee's blown his whistle, and I think he's caught Halifax offside at the kick-off. So Leeds are going to get another chance. Schofield, I'm sure, will pump it into touch on that far side, and a chance for Leeds now. It looks as though with the time that's remaining they'll go over the 50 points easily.
Quite likely. Nick Fozzard taking Shaw's pass, and Shaw's quickly up-tacked in half-back. Was that a knock-on, or did it go off a Leeds player's foot? It said that Dave Gibbons, who's come on, who's been playing scrum half, has come on. So has Schofield gone off? No, Schofield looks as though he might have gone off. So Halifax chance now, one of their few chances of possession this half.
Well, just as you turned away there, Stan, they've spilled possession, and it should be. I think it should be me that's holding my head in my hands, and perhaps most of the second half, so I couldn't have seen the debacle it's turned into for Halifax.
I wasn't holding my head in my hands. I was holding my head in my hands because it was such an elementary mistake that should never have happened, but happen it did, and Leeds move it out again. Schofield is still on. The ball's gone back, I think. Referee signifies it has. He hasn't. He signified it. At first he was waving that it had gone back and then signified. So we're getting a chapter of errors now on both sides, possibly both sides tiring.
Well, I could understand the errors if it was wet, windy, pouring down with rain, but on a fine afternoon there should be no reason for the handling errors. This time Halifax managed to keep hold. Halifax full-back Amanga, but doesn't make much ground. A Cuckoo, 2 tries already, looking for his hat-trick. Won't get through Mann and Fozzard. Rowley, the back inside pass. Moriarty. Tackled without the ball, was he? No. And Leeds allowed to continue as Halifax spill the possession up again. And Shaw at acting half. Well, it's not very often that you see a sub come on at half-time and get the man of the match, but I think Mick Shaw deserves it for Leeds with his work in the second half, the way he set Leeds, the position up for Leeds time after time.
I think he's one of these players who come into the game, and the established players in the game on the opposite side don't know how to play him because they've never seen him play before, and I think that's a case of that. As they get used to his wriggling ways, I mean, it may be that he won't be as effective. Nevertheless, Leeds have got to take advantage of that. And Fallon dashes inside to take Gary Mercer's pass. Looks to see if there's anybody there. Shaw gets it, but the ball is knocked on. Now, what's the referee's decision here? Is it the first infringement? In which case, is it a Halifax ball? In fact, his point is there should be a blood bin here. Looks like it's going to be a blood bin. Mick Shaw. Perhaps Halifax is going to get some respite.
Perhaps if I'd given him man at match earlier on, he might have made a few more mistakes, but no, to his credit, he's been the best player for Leeds so far, in the second half anyway. A long break being taken. There's Halifax player in back play, receiving attention. Parker to Briggs. Can't get away from Schofield and Forshaw. Parker trying to run from acting half, but there's plenty of Leeds bodies in his way. Rowley to Harrison. Harrison throws the dummy. Gets over halfway. Looked as though he'd lost it. He managed to keep hold of it. Fieldhouse, the return to Rowley. Amanga trying to push George Mann off. Bentley in off the wing. Get away from one. but going backwards. John Bentley making very little ground for all the yards that he ran there. Fieldhouse off the short ball, turns it back inside to Briggs. Briggs the chip over the top. Reid gathers his own kick, manages to throw it backwards. A scramble on the floor, but Cook it is that comes up with it. And then takes 3 Halifax forwards to drive Cook back a little bit, so another chance gone begging for Halifax.
Just can't remember that colleagues' his only chance, but never, don't forget that Halifax playing with 12 men, and Leeds have made them pay for it. And Schofield makes a break, looking for support, throws a ball, and it's picked up superbly well there by Tate. Looks as though it hadn't reached him, but in fact it's Francis Cummins, and he's held down in the tackle, so Leeds get a penalty. So is another Halifax player going to the sin bin? And is it John Bentley? Another Halifax player goes to the sin bin. Strides off in the background. So Halifax now will play the remainder of this game with just 11 players. So Lee's chance now to really turn the screw, if they haven't turned it already. Shaw from acting halfback tries to dive under Wayne Parker's tackle and can't get it. Halifax in there very quickly to snuff out any Leeds tackling. Now Leeds move it quickly. There must be an overlap on this side, but Gary Schofield waits the ball bounce, picks it up and then puts it down for a try. The referee although he'd given the try, did a quick check with his touch judges to see where they were, and Leeds go over the 50-point mark. You keep Gary Schofield quiet for 40 minutes. In the second half, he somehow comes alive. So that's Leeds' 8th try, and a chance for Cook with some 3 minutes to play now to kick his 10th goal of the afternoon. So Schofield a try to add to his 2 drop goals, and really the 2 men really showed that 2 men extra made because the fullback wasn't able to go back there, stand in his usual defensive position.
No, they all had to move up in the line, but that was a touch of the score from Gary Schofield of old. Seeing nobody at home, the chip over the top, all the time in the world to let the ball bounce, to touch it down to take Leeds over the 50-point mark. And Halifax looked to have put that miserable defeat against Wigan in midweek behind them up to half-time, but it's been all one-way traffic in the second half. Leeds 44 points in the second half. Halifax without a score, and it was hard enough with 12 men, but I don't think they'll get it now with 11 men, even if Leeds went off for a cup of tea, Stan.
They'd probably knock it on. But Halifax now know the game is beyond recall. In fact, they must have known it about 20 minutes ago. So Halifax will kick off. They're just playing out the dying moments of this game. Leeds' 3rd home victory and a trot. Their 4th in 5 games of the season, and only that blemish against Castleford on it. Of course, Halifax, this is only their 2nd defeat, but that one was against Wigan, and who's going to beat Wigan this season? We'll have to wait and see. Shaw in. I have a feeling that Wigan's opponent should be given some reward. If they keep Wigan down to 40 points, perhaps they should be awarded 1 league point. And another high tackle there. Now is another player going to the sin bin, because if Amoni went to be sent off, surely that was equal to it, personally. And the Fieldhouse having a word with Gary Schofield, and Gary Schofield and John Fieldhouse perhaps having a little laugh about that. I thought that perhaps keep Wigan down to 40 points, you get 1 point, 2 points if you get them down to under 30 points. And if you actually beat Wigan, you get 6 points. Maybe that's a fair assumption at the moment. So far, a Wigan in front of everybody. Touch your John to the referee. I don't know what that was about. 2 players, Gary Schofield and I think it was Paul Rowley, patting each other. Carl Harrison, I said earlier, began his rugby league career up at McLaren Field with Bramley Colts and then Bramley first team. So Leeds, and we're playing out stoppage time now. The ball into touch. In a bit of stoppage time as one or two injuries have occurred. Shaw taken on by Fozzard. Pushed down by the Halifax players. No misdemeanors there, the referee right on the spot to make sure, but of course he couldn't see the players were probably not 10 metres back, waving them back. The referee in a hard job, and Shaw dribbles round, gets down two players. Unfortunately, to get around the second one, he hasn't taken the ball with him. So it was a knock on, Halifax knocked on, but the first offence, and it should be a Halifax head and ball. It doesn't, he's given it to Leeds. Well, I don't know how you saw that, but I thought Shaw tried to run round the second, two Halifax players, ran out on the first okay with the ball. The second one, he ran round him, he didn't take the ball with him. But Leeds now, with Schofield, Ben, has he got a little niggle there with a hamstring, seemed to pull the back of his leg. Gibbons, scrum half, Kemp's gone off. Takes the ball out, Schofield again, trying to get more points now. Craig Guinness in for his third try. Is he in? Yes, he is. Craig Guinness in injury time. And Craig Guinness in for yet another try. The 9th try for Leeds of the game. We've seen 14 tries in this game. But it's been a game literally of two halves. 27-10 Halifax led at half-time. After Leeds had led early by 10 points to 2, then Halifax have certainly crumbled this half. Leeds got the early score they wanted a couple of minutes into the half by Craig Guinness, and that put their game back on track. And Paul Cook, a chance to get his 11th goal of the game, which together will give him, well, 22 points is not bad. He scored 22 points against Warrington. But in that, he got a couple of tries. So Cook again. And the Leeds supporters in fine voice now at half-time. They were pretty muted. But I'm pleased to say things have come right. So Paul Cook, a chance to make it 60 points on the board. And who'd have believed that Leeds would have got 60 points against a very good Halifax side. Strikes the ball, and he does make it 60. And Darryl, well, you must be wondering why you've made the journey down here this afternoon.
Well, it wasn't to see this. I think Halifax would have found it tough enough at Edinburgh with a past record. But at 27 points to 10, it really should have been Halifax's game. But it all went sadly wrong in the second half as Halifax were reduced to 12 men. Asa Ramoni on his debut, taking out Tony Kemp and leaving the field straight away. And as if to rub salt into the wounds, John Bentley went to the sin bin. And Halifax played dismally against Wigan on Wednesday. They played well enough to put themselves in a commanding position against Leeds in the first half and succumbed to 50 points in the second half. They hardly touched the ball. And what Steve Sims does with his players, for me, I really do not know, Stan.
Well, it's back to the training board again, I suppose. But nevertheless, 14 tries in this game, 9 of them to Leeds. Cook has kicked 10 goals, 2 drop goals by Gary Schofield, 5 tries for Halifax, 3 goals and a drop goal. There was 56 points scored in the game last year. This year, there's been 87 scored. Leeds 60, Halifax 27.